Welcome to Harbour City Pilates. I'm Eben, and today's class is going to be nice and gentle. Perfect if you're on the recovery trail or just had a heavy night. We'll get started by just getting the blood flowing. First off, centering our breathing, exhaling as we press, inhaling deep into the belly as we bring those hands back. Slight bend at the knee, so our knees are not locked out. Our spine is nice and tall. And every breath in is coming straight past the ribs, deep into the belly. Flattening out the belly as we exhale. Expanding the abdomen as we inhale. Draw that belly button right back towards the spine as we press out all air. And let it fall forwards. We're now going to drop into a squat, just as low as is comfortable with flat feet. So if for you, the lowest you can get without lifting the heels is here, that's fine. If you can get nice and deep, then please do so. We want knees remaining over the toes, shoulders back, and we're just going to sit into that squat for a moment. Give those hips a little bit of a wiggle. Try and get some circles, and then even figure eights happening with the pelvis. Before we come halfway up, again, it doesn't really matter where your halfway point is, just halfway between maximum depth and standing straight, holding for another 3, 2, and all the way up we come. We're then locking out those knees completely, exhaling as we roll the shoulders forward and drop the skull. I'm bending the top of the spine and feeling that bend work its way down the spine as I drop my skull. Hollowing out the stomach as I lean forward. Feeling that bend move all the way down the spine, at which point I'm going to straighten out the spine. And work my way back up to a nice tall posture. If at any point you get any pain in the spinal cord, stop straight away, straighten back up, and just gently take it about that far. But if you have the spinal flexibility to go full depth, we're going to once more drop the skull as we feel that bend move down the spine. And then starting at the top of the spine, straighten out. Back up to that nice tall posture. All right, ladies and gents, we should be ready for work. Let's go. Dropping straight down to the mat. We're going to start out, hands out by our sides. Knees bent, roughly a right angle at the knee, right angle at the hip. Those angles are going to remain constant as I drop one leg down and hit some single leg windscreen wipers. Nice steady pace, not letting my feet drop down towards the floor at any point. And by that I mean keeping that right angle at the knee throughout the range of motion. Quattro, 3, 2, e 1. Bring those legs straight together. We're going to keep the legs glued together now as we come into some scissor kicks. Just bottom half of the leg moving, looking full extension at the top of each kick, pointing toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one before we plant feet, ensuring heels are right up by our hips. We're then going to lift those hips. Again, visualizing that invisible cord through the top of the thigh. It's going to lift those hips at the appropriate angle. That's it. We want to avoid that anterior pelvic tilt. That's going to compress the lumbar spine by visualizing the base of the hips lifted above the top of the pelvis. We're going to keep that orientation correct. Breathing deep into the belly. Exhaling completely, and all the while keeping those buttocks firmly clenched. Glutes flexed if you prefer. You should have a nice tight booty throughout the entire bridge. We'll hold for another 10 seconds or so. Still thinking about the angle of the hip, keeping the base of the hip nice and high. Still thinking about keeping those glutes nice and tight right up to the end. 3, 2, 1 joint at a time. We're going to press out. One vertebral joint flat against the floor as we keep those hips elevated, working our way down the spine, scooping out the stomach as we come through lower back, pressing lumbar spine flat against the mat, and then finally tailbone touches the ground. And we'll hit some tucks. Legs extend out, knees up over chest, tailbone comes up off the ground. Inhale back to our start position. Exhale as we bring the knees up. Nice full range of motion. Knees right up over chest, and then legs fully extended at the base of each tuck. We'll go for 3 more. 2 more. Or 1 more. Before planting feet, hands on head, and straight into some crunches. Exhale up, keeping eyes on the ceiling directly above us. Inhale back down. The rib cage is being pulled down towards the top of the pelvis as we lift the skull straight up towards the ceiling. It really helps to visualize lifting the skull rather than pulling it forward. That's going to keep your neck at an appropriate angle and stop you from straining. 2 more. 1 more. Before we return to the beginning. Arms outstretched. Right angles at the knees, and this time our windscreen wipers are going to be both legs glued together. Shoulders remain flat against the mat. As soon as we feel that shoulder threatening to lift, we come back in the opposite direction. I'm still not letting those feet drop, keeping that lovely right angle at the knee. 3, 4, again. Straight back to scissor kicks. Full extension of the legs at the top of each kick. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Planting feet, returning to our bridge. Again, base of the hips elevated over the top of the hip. Focusing purely on holding that bridge, keeping glutes tight and breathing deep into the belly. One more nice deep belly breath. And then starting at the top of the spine, pressing out 1, vertebra at a time. Hollowing out the stomach, pressing lower back flat, and into our tucks. Exhale up, inhale down. 3, 2, one more. Planting feet, exhaling as we come into a crunch. Remembering that the skull is moving straight up towards the ceiling, not coming down towards our knees. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Before rolling onto our sides and shifting angles. We're going to stay nice and low to the ground, resting on that elbow. Top leg is going to stay locked out at the knee, and my foot is going to stay horizontal. By that I mean I'm not letting the toes splay up like so, keeping it parallel to the floor as we just hit some nice generous circles. 2, 1, and then keeping that angle of the foot constant, we come back in the opposite direction. 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Before we flip and do the same thing on the other side. Over we go. Resting on that elbow. Top leg straight and foot nice and horizontal as we just hit those circles. Last one this way. Coming back in the opposite direction. Couple. 3, 2, 1. Onto our bellies. And hands by our sides. We're then bringing our feet up over our buttocks, reaching for our ankles, and lifting knees and chest as high as is comfortable. We're going to hold, press the lower legs against the hands so that we feel that resistance through the bow. Should feel it through the front of the legs and a stretch through the chest and shoulders as well. 3, 2, really press and release. Rest for 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to come back up. Again, press those feet against the hands to generate that tension throughout the bow. And done. Down we come. Up onto our triangle arm base and into a plank. We're going to set up that straight line. By that I mean hips in line with shoulders and ankles, not poking up in the air, not drooping down towards the ground and compressing a lower spine, nice and neutral. Our glutes should also be switched on. It's not just our abs that are working, and we're breathing deep and calm. All right, boys and girls, we're nearly there. Hold on. Shouldn't be giving up quite yet. Got another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Make sure you're still holding that straight line. 2, and done. Up we come, onto hands and knees. From here, one leg comes straight out behind, and I'm going to keep that thigh at a constant level as I bring my foot up behind. So the lower leg is coming back towards the buttock as I keep that thigh nice and steady. 3 more. 2 more. 1 more. Bring the knee back and onto the other leg. Extend and back we come. 5, 4, 3, 2. Last one. Bringing the knee back in and exhaling as we come into a cat stretch. Inhaling as I drop the spine and lift the skull. Tucking the chin as I exhale and pull my belly button right back towards my spine. 1 more. Before dropping down into child pose. Allow your breathing to slow right down at this point. Gentle pressure through the palms against the floor. Our rib cage and our hips are sinking right down into the ground. 3, 2, and up we come. Just going to shift angles once more and finish on our back. So flat on our backs to begin with. We're going to stretch out those hamstrings. Lock out the knee and gripping from the knee, the ankle or the foot, whichever is most comfortable, we're going to pull back towards the chest. Again, it does not matter if this is where we end up as long as that knee is locked out. You're better off with a stretch here than bending at the knee so that you can bring the foot right back. This is cheating and useless. Legs straight and up we come. 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. That same leg is now going to cross over the other. I'm going to feed my hands through and wrap them around the leg that's not crossed over, and then just pull that again back up towards the chest. This one you should feel on the outside of the buttock. 3, 2, and release. Onto the other leg, hamstring first, gripping wherever is comfortable and ensuring that knee is locked out. And cross over, feed the hands through, and draw up towards the chest. And release. Straightening out those legs. We're going to conclude just with a couple of breathing exercises. Hands by our sides, legs nice and straight, sinking into the floor as we inhale through the nose and expand the rib cage first. Expand as high and wide as you can, and then exhale completely. Out through the mouth as you collapse the rib cage, and then in through the nose as we expand, this time down at the diaphragm or the base of the ribs. Exhaling again completely out through the mouth. And just collapse those lungs. Inhaling through the nose, this time right deep down into the belly. Expanding right up before sucking the navel right down towards the spine as we exhale completely. Through the cycle once more, rib cage first. take the time to expel all air before moving down to the diaphragm. In and out. Deep down into the belly. And exhale completely. And that, my friends, is us done for another day. Hope you got something out of it. Thank you.